I
We did it.
bypassed
Yes.
I bypassed a few things. Sorry about that,
Good.
folks. The other one is 3 episodes of life is the other thing
that was a theater play. So I think it's so healthy, and I'm so happy to apply theremin in different genres and in different mediums. And so that was a theater play, and it got a little prize, and I made the music with Arno Waschk, a German pianist. And there are more projects coming up of a dance piece and an off-Broadway, making music for an off-Broadway production. So it's really important to drag the theremin and this unusual sound into all these different worlds and see how it works. And for giving a lot of people still the opportunity to discover the instrument that they haven't heard of before.
So were you on stage for that then, for the 3 episodes of live?
The 3 episodes of live, the music was written by us, and also I had to be on stage during the whole thing with a mask, and it was really hard to play the theremin when you don't see anything. But Clara Rockmore said the best way to play the theremin is when you have your eyes closed anyway. So it's just a matter of having balance, having your physical balance, which
I can
we all should have anyway.
Right, right. Okay, that's wow. Now, coming back to the Clairvox a little bit, because again, it's brand new, folks. This is the new instrument. It's just now being shipped and all of that. Tell us a little bit. Sorry.
So Clairvox, it was named after Clara Rockmore, which is really nice. In fact, I made the suggestion and they flew with it, so I'm super happy about that. And this is it's really an interesting instrument, and I'm very excited about it. First of all, it has a high quality analog delay inside. So, less pain in the back. So I don't have to bring my external, it's nice when you send a theremin through effects to expand the sound. It is monophonic, so it's fun to use a looper and send it to other effects. So I'm saving not bringing one box because I have a pretty nice analog delay in here. And so what you can do with this, you can connect it, it merges analog with digital technology, and you can, like in a synthesizer, you have the 2 oscillators, and you can, on the app, alt it, and then save all the different presets. So it's, there lives a synthesizer inside here that is played like a theremin. And that allows for a very new kind of approach of things. And I'm preparing now for my first live concert, for the first one in over a year, on June 4th here in Berlin. And it's really interesting because I pretty much can, for each song, I have it's like having 20 guitars on stage and being really obsessed about, I mean, André, you know that, and having, for each song or for each part of a song, your own guitar. And so here, I finally, I really pre-saved a different sound for each song and each passage, and I can I will see how it works live, how quickly you can do this. It still needs to be worked on, but it's really exciting to have suddenly to expand the sonic repertoire so easy, being able to do this live. So I'm pretty excited about it, and I'm still just starting to crack. I really would like to do arpeggios on the theremin to kind of do more rhythmical things, and I still have to figure out with the MIDI application in Clairvox how to get there, but I think it will be possible. So.
That's fascinating. I didn't know that it had all those extra bells and whistles on there. Of course.
Do you want to hear a few sounds? Or?
Oh, of course, yes. Give us some, yeah.
I mean, just so, well, we know the traditional, let me see. We know the traditional, like the traditional theremin sounds of many, and the front panel is very fluid, and Cyril did a beautiful job with the, so you have the traditional classical capacities, but then you can also have presets. I designed some of the presets for Clarovox, a few. So this is, for instance, one called Tundra. So you suddenly can go into, you can switch into all these different, so you have all these different nice synth sounds. Then there's something I designed, it's the, I call it the Morricone harmonica. It goes like, and so, yeah, so there are many different sounds living in this Clarovox. Yeah, it's pretty exciting.
Wow.
You get the idea.
What's really cool too is that uh, the interface with the iPad or with any tablet, probably, that's really great, because again, that's a recognition that people have these things and they're going to try to
well, it's merging, you know, it's just kind of dragging, you know, old technology into the future, and having, you know, it's kind of courageous to take it there and merge it, but it's, I feel like it's done in a very organic, I mean, it remains to be seen how people will work with it and what they will do with it, and I myself have to see how, because the theremin is so you know, it's so pure in its analog way and in the history that it has. But I do think you want it to sound good and you want it to play well. And if you have all these extra possibilities, it always depends on where it, I mean, it will be exciting. I mean, I'm happy to have all these different sounds for songs that sound good and they're played on the theremin. I think it's not a crime to take it into the future. Uh-oh, you're frozen. I think you're frozen for me. I cannot. Okay, we lost André. I hope he'll come back very soon. Okay. Let's see. Okay, here you are. I cannot hear you.
hello? Yeah. We're just having a tough
Yeah, now I
internet,
can hear you. Okay,
tough
super.
internet time today. You just froze. Did I freeze also?
You froze beautifully and then you disappeared altogether and now you're back. Yeah.
Folks, we're so sorry. You know, it's wonderful that it works at all, right?
Yeah.
Because
It's a miracle. Yeah.
it's a miracle. It really is.
Yeah,
But what
it's
you were
grateful.
what you were saying was interesting too, because now we have the theremin and then this more modern thing of using a pad of some sort, an iPad or a tablet or whatever. But what's funny is there was a time when the theremin was the modern thing that people were saying, oh, that's, the classical players, and people had that attitude. So funny now that,
Well, well, it's always transition can be quite painful. And, with the theremin, I still encounter that all the time. When I did play with the San Francisco Symphony, it happened twice. And the first time, the violin players, they were so they were so aghast. They did not want to play with this thing. They were like, what the hell is this? We don't like it. Also, it was troubling them because they could hear it too loud. And it was literally the percussive section, and some of the instrument sections were really, this is exciting, it's different, it's new, it's not analog, but it's part of the orchestra. Let's see where we take it. And and specifically the violin section, which maybe is the most traditional one, I don't know, depending on training, they barely, they really only did it because they contractually were forced. So it's really interesting. This instrument, it hadn't found its place. It never really got fully established. So maybe it would, bode well now in the future with the we'll see if it will maybe now has a good chance for the new sound of the music. But I think it feels very modern, and to merge it with this modern technology, I think it works. Yeah, we'll see what people will do with it.
yeah, I hope so.
I
But it's
mean,
just, it's
I am
humorous.
honestly a little bit nervous about it. Yeah, I'm honestly a little bit nervous about it because you have now all these sonic possibilities, these really pristine sounds. But the fact is, you have to play it like a theremin, and playing the theremin is difficult. And it's difficult to understand for people the basics of calibration, of how to calibrate a theremin, which is kind of like tuning a guitar. It's just so out of the box. So that's really something that people have to inform themselves, and that theremin players have to teach. So you have the basics to kind of run with it. So that will take. So I hope that the missing links will come together for people to really use this instrument to its potential. We'll see.
That's great. I think that's the way it's been going, and you've been part of that rare group of people playing this instrument and doing it so well. What you answered one of my questions earlier. I was going to say also, well, what's next for you? What's coming up? Do you have any performances being booked, being planned? And you said June 4th. There's something it's on the books.
Yes, I'm lucky to have a concert. Yes, yeah. But I mean, for so many musicians, including myself, and you know this too, it's all the big tours, a lot of tours, they're not going to happen until 2022. And, even with now things kind of opening up slowly, it will take months to plan and book. I mean, all these promoters, my heart goes out to them. They, every 3 months, when they started booking in spring, then in the fall, then in the winter, and then again spring. And
Yeah.
I just had I had a few summer festivals lined up that were just canceled the other week because it's impossible to make any profit with all the precautions. It's such a struggle for promoters. Um, bigger festivals to do. So there's still especially for people that do what we do, it's a long haul. That being said, I'm having one concert on June 4th in Berlin in a museum. I'm super excited, and I want to use the Clara Rocks for the first time live. And then some interesting collaboration through the distance that are really inspiring people, very different genres, modern classical music by a young British composer called Finlay Clark. And then Michael Fain, a British producer, maybe you've heard of him. He used to work with The Clash, and he's involved in all kinds of different beautiful productions, and he sent me an amazing track that's a real joy to work on, that's actually very poppy, and then a theater piece. So yeah, different different genres, different projects, different challenges to apply the theremin to. So there is lots of stuff to do, but we all really want to get on the road again and meet people and also teach in person. I miss that a lot.
That's it's great to hear that there's at least a few things coming up. And yeah, I was talking to some people from venues today about this problem of, even now with a few things opening, how do you make the money work? And so yeah, that's, I hear you. Wow, again, folks, I want to emphasize, every time I speak with Dorit, it's 6 different projects and it's different types of music. And just in a few minutes there, we had San Francisco Symphony. We spoke about Eric Satie. We spoke about, of course, Eno and Kraftwerk. Now she's working with someone who worked with The Clash, which is one of my favorite groups. And then you've worked with...
Actually,
Sorry?
No, I'm sorry to interrupt.
No.
One of the most exciting things, yeah, there's one project also that I'm really excited about. I forgot to mention.
Please.
The big Calder mobile sculptures, Alexander
Right.
Calder.
Yeah.
So they're having a big retrospective at the MOMA there at the moment. And this is something I've been tossing with the Calder Foundation. And so we're going to do a project where I'm going to create a duet between the Calder mobile and some theremins. We're going to place the theremins in the sculpture garden of the MOMA with one of the big Calder metal sculptures. And then, because these sculptures were meant to move, he wanted them to move. And so then the mobile is gonna spin around playing the theremins, and I'm gonna record that and turn it into a composition, and we film it. And so those kind of things are really exciting to just kind of experiment and see what happens. And yeah.
And that's
I'm excited about that.
That's supposed to be this year at MoMA?
So we're gonna go and collect the footage, and then it will be hopefully, it will be part. It's a MoMA sound commission. So,
Yeah. Well, here's MoMA. Of course, you have this beautiful garden, which was, so folks, if you're near New York, maybe check this out.
Check out the.
Okay, there we go. MoMA, Alexander Calder.
Yeah, check out the exhibition. It's beautiful.
This looks great. And of course, you're saying it looks like it's out in the garden at MoMA, which.
So there are 2 of his sculptures in the garden, and then some others inside.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a really nice show. And it's interesting because Leon Theremin, when he was living in New York, he had his studio right opposite of the MoMA, actually.
Okay.
And the big question is if Leon Theremin and Alexander Calder knew each other. It's something we're still trying to get to the bottom at, but we would assume that they possibly informed each other's art.
Wow, what a great idea too of these sculptures, doing the influence on the antenna. Wow, that's really cool. Okay, well, folks, follow that up if you're near the New York area, because that's, and what I was going to say that's so special, if it's in the garden, any of this, of course, at the MoMA garden was where that early electronic concert was with
the very first synthesizer concert, Moog synthesizer concert with Herb Deutsch being part of it.
And David
I know,
Gordon.
I'm fantasizing of a follow-up with like 10 theremins, but using some of the original theremin prototypes, from the 30s and the Vanguard. And because a lot of people have never really heard some of these original theremins, and even, the Clairvox sounds very powerful and big, but in comparison to those original prototypes, everything we have now is kind of like little tricycles, and these are like big trucks. They also had their customized speakers to run through, and that's still a missing link, that no one is producing, you know, the right speakers, amplifiers for the theremins to really, you know, modify, have the perfect tone for it. So that's still a missing link. People ask me all the time which amplifiers, which, you know, to use for theremins, and we don't really have a perfect solution for that. So that's still a missing link that hopefully someone will fill one day. But yeah, step after step.
That's interesting. It's still being developed. Well, it sounds like, you know, you're ready to be out there, and it sounds like things are getting safer, so you'll have some little
Like everyone
chances.
else.
Yeah, like all of us. Yeah, you know, I'm doing a few little things are on the schedule on the calendar. Um, I wanted to just close with making sure we see a few questions, of course, but I wanted to ask about another incredible piece that you did working with the wonderful Laurie Spiegel, and she wrote a piece for Theremin, right? Tell us a bit about that, because
Yes.
that's another. What I love, and just to set this up, folks, I love that another aspect of Dorit is she is the history is important to her. So she's always talking about, as she just did,
Yes, it
people
is.
like Herb Deutsch, people like Clara Rockmore, of course, people from the 40s and 50s doing these soundtracks, and people from even 5 or 10 years ago. She makes sure that you understand there's a thread. And so Laurie Spiegel, to be working with her is as a fan, important to me.
Yeah.
So just to
Well,
set that up, go ahead.
yeah. Well, first of all, I studied musicology, so that's why I have, you know, the whole, how the thread of history makes is interesting. And I'm a big admirer of Laurie Spiegel's work. And I've been trying to convince her for years to perform live, to also, you know, give people the opportunity to experience her work and rediscover her, to give her the platform. Um, she's done so much incredible work that so many people don't know about. And she's also done a lot of the sound design for recent movies, but you know, she developed the first music software, the Music Mouse, and beautiful records, and really innovative. So yes, I met her in New York at an opening, and when I met her, I didn't know who she was, and she didn't tell me, and she was so kind and gracious, and she told me how she met Clara Rockmore. That's how we started to talk. She knew the theremin and she knew my work, but she didn't really reveal that it was her. And so she told me that she interviewed Clara Rockmore in the 70s in her apartment, and then she sent me the interview in German, and I translated it. We now published this interview, which is incredibly interesting, on the New York Theremin Society website. I think people should check it out. She talks a lot about how to play the instrument and what it was like at that time. And yeah, so Laurie then decided, she didn't, I bugged her all the time about playing live and doing, coming out, and she, I think, just to get rid of me and to shut me up, she just said, here's a composition for theremin and piano, take that and stop bugging me to go on stage. And so she wrote a beautiful piece for piano and theremin called Paraphrase. It's not easy to play, but I'm working on it, and I'm working on making a beautiful, perfect recording of it. And yeah, it's I think it's her first piece she wrote for theremin, and hopefully not her last piece. I think she also, you know, she said she still also, you know, has to learn of a lot of I wish there would be more compositions for theremin, but a lot of composers have to understand what the instrument can do, that it has 7 octaves, and that there's also no notation that really fully captures what you can do on this instrument. So yeah, Laurie is an inspiration and a hero, and yeah, she's
Yeah, no,
has
that's
done and is doing beautiful work. She's very generous and gracious to the younger generations, which is really incredible.
that's
Yeah.
thank you. That's a great portrait of the wonderful Laurie Spiegel, who I- I've I've only heard her other music. And thanks for the reminder, folks. Please, I put the link there, but do study a little bit of the on this website, New York Theremin Society. Great website. A lot of things about the classes they do. A lot of things about the Theremin 100, which is an ongoing celebration. And there's one of the kids playing with the theremin. Um, and of course, there's things you can learn about Clara Rockmore. And as Dorit said, here is an interview with Laurie Spiegel
Here's the interview.
and Charles Amerkanian. So, and you have some shots of Dorit teaching kids. Yeah, really great site, folks. Go spend some time there, and it's ongoing. You know, I really think I say this all the time. We've seen study after study how music children have better mathematics, better science. They do better in school. That's why I'm so passionate about the idea that we have to get music to as many kids as possible. You know, and it's so great to see, you know, how they react, especially to this instrument and to all music, whatever it is, a
Yeah.
banjo or a drum or anything. But theremin, if they can be around it, because then they're learning science, they're learning the physics of sound. Um, the dear friend of both of us, Michelle Mogusa, she has the uh, Bob Moe Foundation, and the Dr. Bob Sound School exactly does that. They go into schools with theremins. So again, I just want to thank you, Dorit, that you give such a part of your life besides all the hard work of being an artist, that you make sure that you're paying forward. So I want to thank you from all music listeners.
No, 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 it's such a, it's, as you know, it's so rewarding to, to share knowledge. And I think there's not a lot of electronic early music education existing yet. And I think it's so important for like the future status of electronic music to kind of, if kids play Kraftwerk at age 4, they will so naturally respect and accept this genre of music, and they will take it to another level that's much more established. So I think that's really, really important to do. So
That's fantastic. Yes. Well, we wish you a lot of luck. Thanks for staying up late. We're going to wrap up. Is there anything that we didn't cover that you wanted to say to the folks? Is there?
well, thank you so much for having me. And yeah, I'm sure there are 1,000 things I forgot, but I think we covered a lot, and it
Yeah.
is late. And thanks for having me.
Uh,
And I
uh,
thank you for doing all this great work also throughout the last year and months. We all really appreciate that. Yeah.
well, thank you so much. I'm honored that you have been seeing some of it. Um, I wanted to let people know, make weird music. Please subscribe. Please hit the bell so that we can inform you. And very quickly, a wonderful interview coming up on May 26th. Another wonderful interview. I think they all are, but this one is different. Dorit, hopefully you can stay up again on Wednesday and watch this one. Uh, I'm interviewing Katie Coleman. She is an astronaut for NASA, and she's been on the International Space Station for 6 months at a time and been to space many times. But she plays flute, so she's a musician in space, and I'm going to be talking to her about taking her flute into space, what it's like playing music, and what it's like
Amazing.
being an astronaut. So she's coming up Wednesday, next Wednesday, 26th. 1 week from tonight, I have the one and only Adrian Ballou. That's 1 week from tonight. And then on Wednesday, June 9th, Diego Teida, the keyboard player and synthesist from the wonderful band Haken. So we have a lot of fun stuff coming up. Dorit, I'd like to invite you to come back again sometime when you have some other projects, and you know,
Thank you so much.
always welcome here. So, folks, thanks again, and thank you, Dorit, for being here. Um, and let's see, 2021. Yeah, it's funny. I have to share this. I just got a text from Adrian Ballou as we speak, and I have to share this because he says today is the 21st day of the 21st week of the 21st year of the 21st century. So I didn't know that. So that's a good, a good thing to end on because we love numbers. But thank you, Dorit, for being here on this 21st century day to discuss this instrument from the 20th century. Do come back and take care of yourself, and good luck with you know, getting back out into the performing.
Same to you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
Stay on the line, and I'll end the stream, and you just stay on for a second.
Alrighty.
And see you, folks.
Okay.